Hope you remember the previous class. So yesterday we have learned about cell, what is cell, and why it is called as basic structural and functional unit. We have also seen the classification of the organisms into unicellular and multicellular organisms. We have also seen what are organelles which are present in the cell, and also we have seen the two differences between the plant cell and the animal cell. Hope you remember them. So what are the differences between the plant cell and animal cell? What's the first one? Chloroplast is present in animal cell or plant cell? Yeah, it is plant cell. And then cell wall is also present in plant cell but absent in animal cell. Okay, so today we are going to learn about the first organelle of the cell, which is called as the cell membrane. Remember that this cell membrane is common in animal cell as well as plant cell. So you can see the plasma membrane in the animal cell and also plant cell. So now what are the features of the cell membrane? What are the functions of the cell membrane? That is what we are going to see now. So cell membrane, as we have drawn here, it is the outermost layer of the cell. It is the outermost layer of the cell. It will separate the cytoplasm. See here, there is cytoplasm in the cell. So the cytoplasm will not come out because the cytoplasm will not come into this external environment. Why? Because a layer is completely blocking it, like lockdown. We are not supposed to come out of our homes because the lockdown is acting as a cell membrane. So it is not allowing anybody to come out. So we are not supposed to come into the external environment rather than staying in our house. We are all just like organelle, cytoplasm, staying in the home. So in the same way, the cell membrane also, it is the outermost layer which will not allow the cytoplasm or any other organelle to come into the external environment. That is the first point you have to remember. The second point you have to remember is, already we have discussed this one, this cell membrane is also known as plasma membrane. So if it is plasma membrane or cell membrane, don't get confused. It is the same term. And then third one is cell membrane is the organelle which will define the shape and size of the cell. So if a cell has to get its shape, see, each and every cell is not in the similar shape. If you take a neuron, if you take a nephron, if you take a hepatocyte, if you take a blood cell, any cell you take, they are not in the same shapes. So the shape of the cell is defined is only because of the cell membrane, and also the size is also because of the cell membrane. So it is said that cell membrane defines the shape and size of the cell. And then this is the outermost layer. And also it is a protective layer. It is the layer which is protecting the cells. So the environment which is inside, the organelles which are inside, the cytoplasm which is inside, the nucleus which is inside, so all these are protected by a protective layer which is called as the cell membrane. So this cell membrane is also acting as a protective layer. It is the one which is protecting the cells. The next one is, the cell membrane allows only few substances to come into it, and it allows only few substances to go out of the cell. For example, just for an example, this will be a very tough thing for you to understand. See, when you take the air inside, the oxygen should go into the cell. So the cell is allowing the oxygen to come inside. So the entry of the oxygen is under completely the control of cell membrane. So once oxygen goes inside, it will be used up. And you know what is formed? carbon dioxide is formed, and this carbon dioxide cannot stay in the cell for a long time. If it stays in our body for a long time, you will definitely leave this world. So that's the reason why the carbon dioxide should go out of our body. It should leave our body. So it should exit from our body. If it has to exit from our body, it should exit from the cell. So it will allow the carbon dioxide to go outside. So the entry of anything or the exit of anything, it is completely depending upon the cell membrane. So that is the next point. And now the other point is, it is also called as selectively permeable membrane. Why it is called as selectively permeable membrane? So it is called as it is very much selective. It is very selective. So it will allow only few substances to enter inside. It will not allow everything to come inside. So whatever is useful to the cell, it only allows them to come inside. Whatever it feels that it is not that necessary, they will leave it out of the cell. So these are the things which you have to keep in your mind. So if a question comes, what are the functions of the cell membrane? If you write these points and if you are able to explain these points, you will get maximum marks. So what's the first point? It is the outermost layer, and it will not allow any of the cell contents to come into the external environment. That's the first point. Second one is, as you know, cell membrane is also known as plasma membrane. Third one is, the shape of the cell and the size of the cell is defined by cell membrane. Next one is, it plays a major role in protection of the cell. It covers all the internal parts of the cell as a layer. It will not allow anything to come inside. So it's moreover, it is protecting the cell, you can say. And next, okay children, now we will learn about cell wall. As we have already learned that plasma membrane is a very common structure present in the animal cell and plant cell. But whereas a unique feature is present in the plant cells, that is, they have the cell wall. They have a cell wall around the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Now, why a plant requires a cell wall? What is the reason behind that? So that is what we are going to see now. So we will see basic functions of the cell wall. So the first function of the cell wall is okay, let me start in this way first. Right, a cell wall is basically made up of cellulose. That is its composition. It is made up of a complex carbohydrate. It is a carbohydrate which is complex in nature, and that carbohydrate, the name of the carbohydrate is cellulose, and this cell wall is made up of cellulose. That's the first point. Second point is that it is really very tough. It is very strong membrane which is present around the plasma membrane, and moreover, it is not only tough, at the same time it is flexible. You know what is flexible? You see so many dancers who are very much flexible. They dance very well, so they have a very flexible body. So in the same way, cell wall is also very flexible. So second point is, it's very strong but flexible. Third, as we have seen, that plasma membrane is a membrane which is helping in the protection of the cell, and even the cell wall is also the outer membrane which is present on the plasma membrane in the plant cell. So somehow it also will help in the protection of the cell. Next is, earlier the people used to have a kind of perception that cell wall is not a very important layer. It doesn't have any kind of significance. It doesn't have any kind of importance. It is absolutely inactive layer. We don't know why that layer is present. But later on, so many scientists, they kept on discovering new things, and now they found out that cell wall plays a very significant role in the plant cell. So now what is the major function of the plant cell? That is what we are going to see now. Try to understand it. Okay. Now this, let me draw here. I'm drawing this one. See, whenever you want something to copy from the board, better take a screenshot and then write it, or else you can pause the video and also you can write it. Okay, so now if you take a cell, see, these are the roots. These are the roots. Now assume that there are some cells here. Imaginary cells somewhere here like this. Okay. So plant will be taking water continuously. Plant will be taking water continuously and the water will keep on entering into the cells. Now just assume that if you keep on eating the food, like you're not stopping eating, somebody is putting food in your mouth and all, they're making you eat, what will happen? After some time you will try to vomit. Okay, so if you take a balloon and you keep on blowing the air into it, after some time what happens? It will burst, isn't it? Because then there's a certain place where it can stay right. So only up to some extent it can stay normal, but after that if you keep on forcibly, if you blow the air, it will definitely burst out. So now this cell is also like that. So the water will keep on coming inside, the sap will be coming inside. So this cell wall has to bulge and bulge and bulge. The cell has to bulge and it will burst. It has to burst. But now that is not happening here. That is not happening here because the cell wall is playing a protective layer, as you have seen a football. Have you seen a football? Okay. So there will be a balloon inside. If you blow the air, this football, the balloon which is inside the football will blow up to one particular time and then it will stop. In the same way, you have seen the cycle tires or the motorcycle tires. The outer layer, like the tire, will be a protective layer. It is like a cell wall. It will not allow more air into that. If you keep on blowing the air, the pump will, the pipe will come out. The pipe of the tube will come out forcibly because this particular football, the outer layer will not allow more than required air into the balloon. So what happens is it will definitely come out. Now even if you want to understand it more better, you can take a plastic bottle, keep a balloon inside and keep on blowing the air. What will happen? Only certain air will go inside, and when the balloon fills the bottle and all, now even if you try to blow air into that, the bottle will not allow it. The bottle will stop, isn't it? In the same way, the water which is coming inside, it can make the cell burst. But whereas here, the cell wall which is around it is acting as a protective layer. It will not allow much water to come inside, which is more than required. So that is how it protects the cell. It protects the cell from bursting. So these are the different points which you can easily understand about the cell wall. So what are the points we have discussed about the cell wall now? Cell wall is the outermost layer present over the cell membrane. Second thing is that they are only present in the plant cells. They are forming the protective layer. It is also helping in. It will not allow the cell to burst because the water keeps on coming into the cell. So at a point of time that should burst open, but that will not happen because the cell wall is actually protecting the layer. And moreover, we have also learned that this cell wall is made up of a complex carbohydrate which is called as cellulose. Okay, children. So today we have learned about the cell wall. Before that, we have learned about the cell membrane. So Remember this cell membrane and also the cell wall, so that tomorrow I'll ask you questions before starting the lessons. Hope you have understood, and if you have any kind of doubt, you can just put it in the form of a question in the chat window, and we will see it, and definitely we will I'll try to answer that as early as possible.